and welcome back to our channel. Today we give you a piece of breaking news from a royal expert reveals Meghan Markle blackmail trick and her fake victim game. Not all criticism was because of her race, and the British press is known to be vicious and cruel regardless of race, as exemplified by coverage of other royal wives. There were also many other factors at play here, such as class, culture, ambition, and national origin. Race notwithstanding, Meghan was fair game in these respects, and was bound to be scrutinized harshly for the following reasons. As an American marrying into the British monarchy, it might have behooved her to respect and embrace the customs of her adopted country and the British people, rather than superimposing her own culture and values onto them, and expecting the royal family and tax-paying public to happily comply. As a commoner, let's face it, the British aristocracy is notoriously snobbish, and there's no getting around it. Duchess Catherine and her family had to run this gauntlet for almost a decade prior to her marriage to Prince William. As a social climber, it's natural to be suspicious of anyone who wants to marry a prince as being a social climber, and coming from a modest middle-class background, it would appear that Meghan skillfully and successfully carved a strategic path to this end by befriending Canadian royalty. As an opportunist, parlaying connections for fame and monetary gain is generally viewed as opportunistic. As an attention seeker, I think the documentary, ghost-written, hypography book, biased press leaks from friends, hiring expensive top-tier PR, staged charity photo ops, weighing in on American partisan politics, and any other controversy du jour that will get the most press coverage, gracious preening for the camera and finding the lens before it finds her, routinely upstaging her husband, the prince who everyone is really there to meet, and timing of announcements to overshadow other royal activities speak for themselves. She obviously thrives on attention at any cost. So I think it can be fairly stated that Meghan contributes to much of the ongoing negative coverage with her statements, actions, and decisions. And unfortunately, her disenfranchised relatives initially gifted the press with a treasure trove of salacious grish for the gossip mill beyond their wildest dreams. And so my question is that after what Meghan witnessed in her own country when President Obama was elected, what made her, Harry and/or the royal family think that she should somehow be immune to racism, or that the British would be so much more enlightened than the Americans, now in the era of Brexit and Trump? What the Obamas were subjected to was the most horrifying and vicious en masse racism that I've witnessed in my lifetime, and they endured it much, much longer. Yet they epitomized grace and dignity throughout it all while managing to run the country and becoming some of the most beloved public figures of our time. They put up with relentless harassment and stonewalling for 8 years, but they didn't quit their jobs, leave the country, then start disparaging, liquidating, and extorting the government and the American people. Why? Because they're mature adults who had a job to do, and their deals took precedent over their egos. Meghan was subjected to droves of people showing up at protests, frothing at the mouth, spitting bile, and carrying signs and effigies of her being lynched, or countless KKK-style memes on social media like the Obamas were. Entire political parties weren't formed to specifically thwart, block, and undermine her every move. This is not to trivialize her experience, but merely to illustrate some perspective here. People have short memories and unrealistic expectations, given the world we've been living in. the royal family extended many special courtesies to Meghan that weren't afforded her predecessors to compensate for or offset any accusations of racism in the court of public opinion. Also, she was the first non-royal to be invited by the Queen to Sandringham for Christmas. Her break from a traditional British royal wedding is another example that she was welcomed into the royal family and given carte blanche. Then she was invited to travel with the Queen on the royal train, which was also unprecedented. 2. The Queen also gave some of her long-held royal patronage to Meghan. 3. Another grand gesture of welcoming and acceptance. Given all that's transpired since Harry and Meghan became non-working royals and their subsequent allegations of racism in Finding Freedom and in the media in this intense climate of racial division, Meghan's race obviously weighs very heavily on how the royal family must tread ever so carefully in dealing with her smear campaign against them. She's got them by the balls and she knows it. And the royal family and the British press know that she knows it. Therefore, it can be said that Meghan's race is also giving her unprecedented latitude, leniency, and leverage within the monarchy that a white person could have never achieved. I will be honest, I never liked or trusted Meghan Markle, but I do have empathy for anyone subjected to racial bigotry and wish that it didn't exist, but it does. However, at a certain point, it's hard to have sympathy for someone who weaponizes racism to extort and blackmail the British monarchy for personal gain. This is decisive and counterproductive and does a great disservice to those who suffer from legitimate racial oppression. Another royal expert also expressed opinion that I believe that Meghan is ultimately the one to blame for all of the drama going on right now in the monarchy. She did experience some racism, but she does weaponize the race card as a way to get what she wants, and to use it against the royal family, who went so far out of their way to give her special courtesy is unforgivable in my eyes. Meghan Markle was not the first black or biracial woman to join the royal family, but she is the first to have pulled out the victim card so swiftly. Using the racism card was her passport and excuse to totally flout royal traditions and protocol. The media responded accordingly. Perhaps Harry finding love, but my opinion of Markle has always been on par with that of a Kardashian. It has never been about the color of her skin, but about her past behavior, how she was disengaged from her entire family, and especially how disrespectful she has been towards Her Majesty the Queen, which I find unforgivable. I am glad she is in California, and I hope she stays there, but not at the expense of the British taxpayers or by any other privileges she has picked up marry Harry, such as her title. Expert continued, are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle acting like love-struck teenagers even though they are both nearing 40 years old? No, they are not. They want to show the people that they are doing great. Public display of affection are for insecure people if done way too much, which is what they are doing. Mostly, it is Meghan who has her paws all over Harry. We understand that she has to hold on to him, as she is almost always about to fall flat on her face due to imbalance. She keeps wearing ill-fitting stiletto shoes. They also want to project a front of a happily married couple. It's actually not coming off as that. It looks staged. Just look at Harry's rigid posture, his blank, emotionless face, clenched jaw, and dead eyes. It is such a travesty to see a once very happy, outgoing person become a recluse. They are actually not acting very love-struck. They are just doing it for show, as life to them right now is not what they have envisioned. Did someone ask Meghan if she was okay? They are acting like crazy people who have no idea what they are doing, and the agenda is always changing because they are crazy and can't make up their minds. Even if being invaded by aliens in their bodies, the aliens would be more sound-minded. At the very least, it is unprofessional. Displays like that would result in a visit to HR and a talk about appropriate behavior while working. It's just tacky, especially in an almost middle-aged couple. Some royal fans also said, "What do you think the secret project idea is about that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have recently been rumored as attempting to pitch to Hollywood producers?" It's almost sad to say, but it seems that every other day, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are dabbling in another project. There was dog shelter, cookbooks, Black Lives, baby-to-baby charity, politics and voting, feminism, racism, etc., etc. Oops, I forgot acting, voiceovers, making speeches, writing books, eco-friendliness, and the Commonwealth. The sad thing is, it seems for the wrong reasons, and people catch on quickly. They show up with photographers, stay for 10 minutes, and that's it, on to the next. The rumor is the new project is a television series about racism and feminism, and some that Meghan has endured, but also other people's experiences. But they want to produce it themselves. My guess is that there won't be any takers. How about you? What do you think of Meghan Markle's blackmail trick and her fake victim game? Please let us know in the comment sections below and discuss them together. And as always, come back to our channel for all the latest news on the royal family, Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry right here. Thanks for watching, and see you next video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Some royal fans